What's going on, everybody? This is your girl, Sis-Lo, update. So, as you know, we have been discussing over the since 20, I want to say 2016. I came across a group that was on Instagram, was a cult that happened to be in Costa Rica at the time. And this of religious type of cult with a leader who was preaching leaving the system, America, and the systematic way of doing things, to live in nature and become one with nature, to eat clean, to live off the earth, and it was founded by a, at that time, 30 some odd, 34 hailed from New, New York, New Jersey area, and migrated down to Atlanta, where he has this for the cause of living this new journey, just taking this new journey in life. And in his common law wife and children or son that they had together, and I believe with them, and the group began to grow because of his influence on soul. The group then called Melanation began to take on a whole new language, name to Carbonation. And just as the name would change, the leadership and take on a whole new life. So now, after about 10 years, well, over the course of time, I came to know of these individuals on social media who came together to take down or to bring of said person, and to expose him for the things that he was doing. And once I saw that he began to call himself God and the Messiah and things like that, in ministry myself, this is something that it was like it touched my soul, because I'm thinking like in this way, this demonic person that took all of the light and the life from our Lord, as if he himself were the Messiah. So I got active with this group, and I began to take part in activities and helping to bring these people in that group, because that group was not playing. And there were some people that were really like getting their hands so dirty that they had DNA up under their nails. Just wanted to sending a few emails and that type of thing involved. And hats off to those individuals, because not only did they bring light to that situation, but they also assisted in helping to bring some and connecting them together and helping them along the way, helping to keep them on the straight and narrow. And not only that, uh, subsequently, they contributed to his downfall and imprisonment in which he is serving life. So to bring all of that to summation, Hulu has now presented a docu-series on the Nature Boy cult. And although I appreciate the fact that they are bringing this to the foresight for educational purposes and for um, the purpose of exposing this individual and individuals like him would be very careful in selecting who they would take their advice and spiritual direction from. Um, so I commend them for that. However, knowing the things that I know about this cult, there's so much more, so much more to this cult than what was on that docu series. Now, there were so many more people that was involved. Um, Things were a lot worse than they were depicted on screen. Um, there were so many more things could have made that docu series a mini series. To be perfectly honest with you, and I mean, it could have been 20 episodes if you want to be honest about it, because it was that much more. Now, I don't know if it was because some of those individuals involved could not be contacted. Some of those individuals did not want to relive the situation and didn't want to be involved, or because in some cases, some of the individuals are still connected to this man and still believe in his innocence and believe that he is, in fact, their Messiah. So, with that being said, appreciate my dear sweetheart friend and joining me reaction to episode 2 of this docu series. And I just want my sister girl, Miss T from the Hood Table. Hey there, Miss T. What's going on, mama?
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we got a delay or I don't know what's going on.
Hello?
But hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, welcome to the chat. Make sure y'all like and share the video.
Hey, okay, so what do you want to? I'll let you start off since I had all that mouthful to say in the beginning. I'll let you go ahead and start off with this one. This particular episode started off in Costa Rica, and it starts off when Eliana or EJ became Queen Eliana. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so first, the first part, they were in Costa Rica, and then I guess, after they got kicked out of Costa Rica, because it was crazy how he was telling them and his manipulation, his um manipulation tactics must have been really strong, because if you are out of the country and you are on a visa, you know that you have to get those visas re-stamped every so often. And for him to be able to manipulate them into not getting their visas stamped or renewed or whatnot, talking about, they are not of the United States anymore. And basically they were going to be they don't have to abide by those rules and regulations. And also he was telling them basically, as far as the visa goes, that they didn't have to abide by the rules and regulations and that it would be fine. And so they're believing him, like, oh, we don't have to get our passports renewed or our visas or whatever. And then that night where they said they were driving around and they had passed like a police stop, and then when they passed it again, they were actually pulled over, because what he was telling them was, we don't want to be a slave of the United States. And they were being, revolutionary. They're trying to make a statement. They were 6 months out of getting their passport stamped. And when they were actually stopped by the police officer, this is where I really it really struck a nerve with me there, because he was telling them that we will die for our cause and telling them to fight the police, don't listen to the police,
We.
and all that kind of shit. And they end up getting their asses whooped. All of them, they was bruised, black eyes, bloodshot eyes. That was crazy. And all he had to do was tell them to get out and talk to the police, and let's squash everything, have a adult, sensible conversation. And none of that would happen. And that's when old boy left, Alex. Because he was like, forget this.
Yeah. Now that right there was Alex was already looking for an out, and that was his way of leaving. When they got deported from, he was up to his field when they spent that $800 on his credit card for a ping pong table, spending money unnecessarily, and not to mention that he had got from Flo that had gotten from his inheritance, and they were like just mishandling money. He was mishandling money. So at that
Right.
particular point, he was in control of everything. He held their visas, he held their bank credentials frivolously. Now, when he told them, we are going to make a statement. First of all, you say you don't want to be a prisoner of the United States, but at this point, you were not in the United States. You were in Costa Rica, and you were in the United States for something. You were in a whole nother country, and you have to abide by the laws of that land. So it was foolish. Shush. It was foolish for them to try to push their agenda in somebody else's home. That's like coming to your house, telling you what I'm not gonna do. I'm not, and do the Rick James on your couch and kick dirt like Dave Chappelle did. Kick dirt all over your sofa and dare you to say something about it. And I'm going to open your refrigerator and drink out of Ace's gallon of milk. Drink out out of the galley and put it back in the on every light in your beautiful home and walk through the house stark naked. And I'm in your house. I can't go to your house. He basically talked those young people right into a tail whooping that they could not get out. And then the people were pleading with them, please, all we want you to do is get your passports. That's it. Okay, well, just sign the paper and we'll let you go. It's like they begged them, beat my butt, black my eye, bust my lip. And then he turned around and played victim. And guess what? He got the least of it. The rest of them were, even some of the women were beaten and bruised for his ignorance. So it was like all of it was his, that was his way of controlling to see how spiritually, and financially. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so, and then after that, then they go back and they decide to Mexico, traveling to get to Belize or what have you. And then the next thing you know, he started turning names or the cult name. He turned Eliana against Omek because he wanted Eliana for himself from the beginning. So he started love bombing her and turning her against to break that relationship up because he wanted her for himself. And then was in the show. But this is just a little golden nugget, and it'll be a part of what me and my sister will be sharing with you guys at the end of the week. These are some of the things that did not they didn't show on the docu series. So what happened with the way that he broke them up was he love bombed her. You know what I'm saying? Trying to convince her that to you. And he got in her head. Uh, think that this man that she thought she was in love, that she thought was the one that she came there to be with, had no interest in did of it. They did that boy so dirty. They got waited until he was in basically allegedly a drunken stupor, and he was a drunken slumber, and all of the cult checked out of the hotel that they were when they were traveling from one place to another. They left the man sleep and got in the van and took off and left him stranded. Left his passport on the bed, left him broke and stranded. And they took off and went to the next place and settled down. And then that's when he convinced her that she was his queen. They left that man stranded, girl. So it wasn't just they just broke up. They didn't only break up. He didn't only break them up, but he left the man stranded in a whole nother place outside of home. He had to find his own way back to the States. Now that's bold and that's manipulation. I don't understand. Like he came to his knowledge and he went back home and got the Moorish movement. But now, and that's what he is. He's more. But He got away and didn't go back. And another one of the things that they didn't share is she made it seem like she crept out and got away and left and never came back. When in fact she left and came back about 3 times before she finally left and didn't come back at all. You see what I'm saying? They didn't tell that part. And they made it seem like, oh, she tiptoed away, jumped over that gate, wearing her baby, and she left and she didn't have nothing to do. Well, she in fact left and did came back. But I got more to say about that, but you're gonna have to tune in. You're gonna have to tune in order to hear what else I gotta say when she left and came before she came back. What she did while she was gone. You got anything to say, sis? You want to add something real quick?
Yeah, when they
You
did get to
there?
Mexico, yeah, I'm here. It's a big delay, and you keep going in and out. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear
Go
me?
ahead. Keep talking.
Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, so after they had left Costa Rica, and then they had went to through Mexico, and then went to where was that Belize. Um, that is when they really said that he started to become like more sexual and wanting them to like get involved with polygamy, and even had told Velvet, after he talked her out of being with old boy Olmec, because she was really like in love with him and everything, and she thought, she even said that was the best experience of her entire life. But then Nature Boy was telling her. Remember when she first got there, he kept asking her over and over again, "Are you sure you want to be with old Mac?" And she was like, "Well, shoot, I was with him before I even got here. I'm already in a relationship." And you're right, he always wanted her from the very beginning, but he always wanted all the ladies from the very beginning as well. So it seems like not in maybe a child predatory type of way where grooming is done sometimes for predators, but it seems like he just got them right where he wanted them. And then when they got to Belize, that's when he let it be known what his real intentions was. So I think his real intentions the entire time was to have a polygamous community, but him having the majority of the women. And when he did get with Velvet, he automatically made her the queen or the chiefess. He really wanted her to get pregnant right away. And then when he talked to her about, being in threesomes and stuff like that, she mentioned how she didn't want it. She didn't want to do that, but she was like, nobody could say no to him. People were scared to say no to him. And that was really sad what happened to, what was her name? Kendra? That was really sad what happened to her because she said she woke up in the middle of the night and Nature Boy was telling her that he wanted to, have sex with her, be her first, break her virginity, and he wanted Velvet to hold her hand through the entire thing. And Velvet didn't want to do it. Kendra didn't want to do it, but it's like they were scared to say no. And that's the really sad part is that when somebody have that much influence over you, that much manipulation over you, and you out there stranded with an expired visa, he has all the money, everybody's finances, credit cards, cash, and it's like, what you gonna do if you say no and he casts you out? You know what I'm saying? They felt like they couldn't say no to anything.
Yeah, they were afraid. A lot of them were afraid to fight back or talk back because Nobody wanted to be the one that he was antagonizing, all of that, because he had that control over them. And that's what I mean by some of the things that they didn't mention. There were things that he did over there, and then he took their innocence from them, and he used some of the other women to do it. And then he had been polygamous the whole time, but because before he got with Velvet, he had a couple of wives, and one of them was pregnant, and he beat her because she ate a bagel without asking. So there was, and he was with Serenity at the time, and then he ended up, after Velvet came along, he gave Serenity to Rambo, and that's how, when she became pregnant by Rambo. So much that's missing in between those little cracks, but he used those young ladies. He manipulated them, and he gave them the freedom to beat them. He whooped them, and he always got those women that were small in stature, petite, people that he could just pick and fling around. He never picked women that were cocky, strong, strong minded. He picked on the women that he and even some of the men that he manipulated. He tried to keep them smaller than him. He tried to keep them physically smaller than him so that he could feel that he had the strength to overpower them. Because Tron was like, Sis-Lo was just as big as Nature Boy, but he tried to keep him underweight and weak by not feeding them so that he could overpower him. And Tron was young. Tron was only like a teenager when he came there, fresh out of high school. So it was crazy how, he used them to push their agenda. And another thing that he said, not only did he want all of the women to come there, one of the things that they did not say in the documentary with all of the women that have the opportunity to. He had them all first. So if they were innocent and untouched, he was the first. Sis, you can jump in anytime because of the delay. I want you to just jump in and say whatever you got to say
It's okay.
so
It's
there
okay.
won't
You
be
just
any
keep going. You keep
dead
going in and
space.
out. So you keep going in and out. So I'm just catching bits and pieces what you're saying. But as far as when they left Costa Rica, and went to Mexico, that was when he also became the Messiah and was telling them to call him the Messiah. And he was also telling them, they couldn't be alone, they couldn't be single because Velvet, after she, broke it off from Ome, she didn't want to even be with anybody. She wanted to be single. She wanted to be all by herself. And he started, controlling who they would be with. He believed that nobody should be single. All the women had to be with a man. The men could be single, but the women can't. And so he not only started controlling, who they were with, he started controlling like their movements, their finances, and then now their relationships. And it was crazy how they didn't even like date. or anything like that. They didn't even court. He didn't even allow them to court and try to get to know individuals. It was like, you're going to marry this person. You're going to be with that person. You're going to be with this person. Like when Kendra was talking about her relationship and how, they would have like the mini marriages and stuff. They were like being married to people that they had never even spoken to in the cult. Now, that is a little different from some of the cult behavior that I have seen through cults over the years. They at least have you date, you be courting, things like that. But he was just like pinning people, just putting people with each other, which was really fucked up. And then telling them they had no choice not only to pick their man, but they also had to be totally submissive to their man. And you know what really burned my, what? Was when Kendra was talking about how she was asleep in a tent one night, and one of the guys that he told her to be with was always, jerking off. And she said that one night he was jerking off, and she was asleep. And she woke up to him. Well, she didn't even wake up to him jerking off, but she woke up to ants crawling all over her. Do you know how would have just told that? I don't want to cuss on your platform, sis, but do you know, girl, you wake up with ants crawling all over you because this dude done skeeted all over you? I was like, that would have been it for me. I would have been gone.
She
I would
woke
have been gone.
up to him, to ants eating his future kids.
All for her,
She
all his
woke up
kids, the
to
ants were swallowing all them kids,
eating
all
his
over
future
her.
baby. Oh my God, girl, that was nasty. And
I
then
was
now
so
they
disgusted.
only took they
I'm sorry, I forgot we
and
have
they
an
could
over.
only groom on Wednesdays. So she couldn't wash it off until Wednesday unless they. That's okay. Well, about the overlay, but once a week unless they water to the waterfalls or something like that. So just imagine all of his future children being eaten away by ants off your skin in the middle of the night. You talking about a nightmare? That sounds like something on what was that? The Final Destination or something. That is so nasty. That is so nasty, sis. I'm telling you. But then after they ended up leaving Belize, they ended up going back to Mexico because when they showed videos of the baby being born, her baby being born. That's there's other things in that was left off. Now some of that was in the beginning he refused. Now he refused to let any of those women that were pregnant. He refused to pay for prenatal care. So they had no prenatal care throughout their pregnancies. And there were at least 3 babies born over there. Stephanie's baby, Eliana's baby was born over there. Kenya's baby or Sheba, her baby was born over there. And his wife's baby was born over there. So that was 4 babies that was born in that cult. And he refused to allow any of those women to have prenatal care. And when Velvet got ready to give birth to baby, appeared a Mexican doula or a midwife to come and check on her. But because during the labor process, the lady was like, you need to go to a hospital because this is out of my hands, because she thought that the baby might have been breached. So she was saying she needs to go, the type of pain that she's experiencing, she needs to go to the hospital. So they didn't show you that part. Well, those women weren't allowed to have medical care, and he wouldn't allow them to go to the doctor because over there they didn't have insurance, so they had to pay for it. Before, when Eliana had that baby, when Velvet had baby Eliana, he was on that same live asking for money to pay that hospital bill because those people wanted their money before they would discharge her from that hospital. He was picking her up, carrying her out of that hospital. You ain't pay that bill. When Sheba had her baby, same thing. Stephanie had her baby, or Serenity had her baby at the compound. Now I can't remember where Joy had her baby, whether she had the baby there or in the hospital. I can't quite remember. But the next thing I know, she had a little brown baby Musa flops. She had a baby in her arm. But he didn't even allow them girls to have medical care. It's like he didn't care about anything. But he took Eliana though. His baby was born at the hospital. And then she said, after, what did she say? After the baby was born, the beatings started. Now he was already beating her before that, but he really started spanking on her after the fact. Ask me how I know. Pictures of I have pictures of the baby being born, but I have pictures of the bruises on her arms, on her face, upside her head. He was beating not just the women, he was beating the men also. What you got? What you got for me, sis? I'm gonna pause. You guys, if you hear a gap in space, it's because we have a little delay. She's way on the other side of the Midwest, and I'm in Michigan. I know. I'm sorry, Oklahoma. She's in Nebraska. I just told the big tail. She's in Nebraska, and I'm in Detroit. So yeah, go ahead, sis.
Child, we dealing with technical issues and we dealing with delays. But when it comes to Velvet, she had said, she did say that, after she had the baby, that's when a lot of the abuse began. And she felt like, sometimes he would sit down with them. And he would sit down with them and talk to them for hours and hours on end about his childhood drama. And I think just like sometimes he used to go live a lot, so his followers would be watching. A lot of times he would be trying to gain sympathy, compassion from his followers online. And I think that's what he was doing sometimes with the actual cult members too, who were on the compound, by trying to get, sympathy from them and compassion by always talking about his childhood drama with them for hours. And Velvet started to realize that maybe he was inflicting his trauma on them because he never dealt with his own trauma. His mother being born a crackhead, her dying when he was young, his father, he was in one of those situations where his mother dated an older guy. And we do know that usually when women have babies by older guys, especially if they involved in drugs and shit like that, they're dating them older guys for their money. So, his father was in his 70s when he was born. And before you know it, after he was born, his father died in his sleep. His mother died. He was abused in foster care along with his brother. He talked about how, they used to make him scrub his skin with Ajax because he was dark or too dark. He was abused in and out of juvie, different things like that. So she felt like a lot of the abuse that they sustained was based on him not dealing with his own trauma. You know what I mean? When a lot of people are hurt and they take it out on other people. But they
Right.
did say also about his baby mama Maisha. Now I don't know too much about his baby mama Maisha. Maybe you can chime in on that. But they said, his second son's baby mama Maisha, she was beaten so badly by him that he was arrested, and that's when he decided to go on his spiritual journey and started to learn how to be a cult member and how to manipulate people.
Um, because he was a master manipulator, he knew how to use his trauma as a way to capitalize on it. So he knew how to take his traumas and make it so symptomatic that um, it, it would appear to be it would intrigue people and draw them in and make them feel sympathy for him, and that in turn will turn into donations, monetary gifts, and things of that nature. Or if he fake a few tears, then each tear that fell was worth a few dollars or something like that. So it was really hard to tell. Now I could believe some of those things happen because there were people that would do things like that, and a lot of people that have adopted or foster children, they'll always have them for the best reasons. We know that, right? So with this particular situation, I think that he just knew how to use it in just a way that it would draw sympathy off of people, and he would be able to benefit from that. Everything that he did was meticulously placed for him to be able to capitalize on it. Everything that he did. He wasn't salesman. He knew you wanted a show, and he would get that show. The problem is that the line between show and because of his bipolar attitude, because of his narcissism, his dominant personality, and all of those things, he couldn't control his temper. He couldn't control his selfishness, his greed, and his need for control. And perhaps some of the things the traumas that he experienced as a child because if he were in control, he couldn't be the victim. If he was in control, then he could not be the victim in this situation or all of these people. And the more people he was in control of, the more it felt like he had inherited his kingdom, so to speak. So it was a need for him to have this bigger than God personality, or this godlike, become this godlike entity. Godlike entities are not victims, they are creators, they are rulers. And that's what he wanted to make sure that he always was. So he had to be in control of every situation, especially victims that have been SA'd over their lives. And he alleges that he was in fact SA during his childhood, and it also opened up the door for that appetite for certain types of fantasies and things like that. that desire turned, and he was gonna get it by any means necessary, by hook or crook. And crook is actually what got him locked up, getting it by crook. These were things that he probably always fantasized about, but now that he has a kingdom of people that was faithful to act these things out, and he had a lot of other players in this fantasy, and if one wouldn't do it, the other one would. But if the one that he really wanted to do it wasn't willing to do it willingly, she'd had to do it by force. He wasn't taking no for an answer. What you think about that? Does that make any sense at all to you, or I don't know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Not only was he viewed to the people as God, but he was also trying to make them believe that the fact that when Jesus was walking this earth, and he was trying to tell the people, right from wrong, trying to get them to follow him, that he was lied on and he was persecuted. So with these followers online and the ones in the cult, he was trying to make them believe that he was like God, he was like Jesus, and he was this higher being, and that the reason why a lot of people online were trying to report him and come down on him, you know was because that's what happened to Jesus. We are raised as, if you're in a religious household, 9 times out of 10, at one point in your life, your parents or somebody that told you, people talked about Jesus too. If people talking about you at school, they making fun of you, people talked about Jesus too. They tell you that shit. So, a lot of these people fed into that, looking to him like he was the Messiah. And, when it comes to Velvet, and how he started really beating her and punishing her, after she delivered the baby. There were times when people would hear her screaming and crying, and they would see the bruises and the scratches and the marks over her body and face and arms. And, one person in particular, Aaron, he said when he would see that shit or hear her screaming, he felt like it wasn't even his business. Why wasn't it even his business? Because he believed that he could be disciplining her. That Nature Boy was just disciplining her and not abusing her in order to correct the masculine traits she learned from the USA, from America. And Aaron at that time even was like, if she got herself together, that shit wouldn't happen to her. That's a lot of the shit that people say about abuse when it's the women or it's the children, just over the years, if you just do right, whatever you're doing, and you won't get abused. And a lot of times you're not doing shit wrong. It's just somebody, that just wants to abuse you. Just want to take, use their power over you.
Exactly. Right. Yep. Mhm. I said it's like the weaker they make you feel, the stronger they begin to feel. It's like they have to make minimize you and your feelings and your existence in order to make them appear to be much larger over you than they really are. Because to be perfectly honest, they're smaller than an ant, but they want to feel like they're so much bigger over you that what I'm saying, they could walk over you, and it wouldn't affect anything. It wouldn't affect your life or their lives in any other kind of way. And it's like it takes a certain type of person to be able to be so callous and so mean and so calculated that they can do all of these things and put bruises and cuts and hurt you and harm you in such a way, and they don't feel anything about no type of remorse, but the apology is more like, look what you made me do, or I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't done this, that, or the third, or you know what I'm saying. Sometimes you need to just learn to keep your mouth shut. And you got to go by the rules. If you would do that, I wouldn't have to do this to you. I had
And
to
that's
do it. You know
gaslighting.
what I'm
That's
saying? You
gaslighting.
deserved this. But like,
That's gaslighting 101.
absolutely,
Yeah, like how he was
absolutely,
saying,
sis,
like how he was saying. Now, were you
absolutely.
there? Were you there in real time when he was discussing in real time on his live social media that women enjoy being raped? Were you there? Because I had never heard that. And when they were talking about it in the documentary,
Yeah,
they were
I
saying that he had went
was there
live
a
and he was
lot of
telling people, huh? Go ahead.
if you're talking about, you talking about when she had the baby.
No, 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 no. In episode 2, they showed a video of him from on his IG or on his YouTube, and he was telling his subscribers on his social media that women like to be R worded.
Oh man, you went out. He was telling his subscribers that when, and you cut off.
Can you hear me?
Your microphone is yeah, it was muted. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that in episode 2, they had showed an actual
It's muted.
clip. That's because I was done talking. It's like a gap. But okay, okay, okay. So in episode 2, they had showed
Okay.
an actual clip of him that he had recorded on his live, and he was telling his subscribers, the people who were subscribed to his social media, that women really like to be raped. So I was asking you, were you there? Did you see that live when he was saying that on his social media? Did you know that he had said that?
See that. I did see that. And did you see the reaction to some of the women? Is like, like they clutched the pearls. But he always said that women like to be dominated. They like to be SA. They like it when you take it. They like for you to dominate, things like that. This is what he said. And believe it or not, he had a large audience of men that agreed with it. Agreed with it. Of course, a lot of the women didn't. But there will also be, when he would be on the lives, I was on those lives when, like on one live, when he hit her so hard, you can hear but you can hear the smack, and you can hear her scream. And the next time we saw her, she had no hair. All her, all of her hair was gone. All she cut off all her hair, and when her hair was gone. And when he hit her, she had the baby in her arms. So one of the other women had taken the baby from out of her arms. And then sometimes he would even say, "You'll know me, yes," which is what got him caught up with that case that got him locked up right now. Because in his mind, her no meant yes. There you go. And there would be women in the comments saying, she need her A B. Whoop her A. Whoop her. She need that. Can you believe that? Can you believe that, sis?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's really crazy. Um, I always say when it comes to these cult like behavior, or even in relationships, I don't know, because I could have easily been in situations like that even in relationships, but seeing that type of shit go on, sorry, seeing that type of stuff go on when I was growing up, with not only inside my household, but it seemed like it was everywhere. I promise you, whether it was an auntie or my grandma or a neighbor or my cousins or my friends, it seemed like that happened a lot back in the day, where men, they were very, very verbally and physically abusive, especially if they were the head of the household, as far as not only the head of the household, but bringing in the most income, bringing home the bacon, the breadwinner. And then keep in mind, during the 70s and 80s, that's when a lot of drugs was implemented into our communities. So a lot of them was also addicted to drugs and stuff. But seeing that stuff when I was growing up, it just put something in my mind. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that woman. I would prefer to be single before I'm verbally abused, cheated on, beaten on, anything like that. I would rather be single. And it always, but it just amazes me how people could take over somebody's mind and thoughts and actions and behavior, with cult like behavior or controlling behavior, and people will actually fall for it and do it. I don't know what kind of mindset you have to have. I know that they say, most of them are like weak, maybe naive, maybe looking for a father figure, maybe been abused. But I think the key in this situation was the fact that he promised people over the internet that when they got there would be no fighting, no arguing, no, it was just going to be peace and just happiness and joy and life and nature. He basically lied to them. But even when he lied to them, I think one thing that kept them complacent and one thing that kept him controlling them was the fact that they were in the middle of nowhere usually, and they had no money. Like, he controlled all the finances. And
Mm-hmm.
once they ran out of money, most of the money that he was getting was from his YouTube channels and social media. And then he also was making them get him the money from their YouTube channels and social media. It was crazy. It's just hard. It's hard for a lot of people to believe that this type of stuff still goes on. And it still goes on. There are still cults out there that we don't even know exist yet.
Yeah, sis.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
There are still, yeah, there are still a lot of cults out there that are doing the same type of thing, which is why lives and videos like this one are so important, and that is why we are discussing this and why we are sharing some of the things that were not on that docu-series, is because we want those to take a look at this and say, you know what, this is wrong. actually happened. This is not something they just did, made up, and did on TV. And this guy was really crazy because he sold them pipe dreams, buying smoke and mirrors. He gave them delusions or illusions. I say delusions because that's what it was, of grandeur. It's like that he made them think that they were going to inherit the fatness of the land when they weren't getting anything except you are being brainwashed. I want you to forget everything else before you came here. And we are brainwashed because you're washing all your brain of all the evil that you allowed to withdraw from their families, to isolate themselves. In some cases, in order to get themselves secure, they slept on the ground, or they slept in tents in the backyard, and they stopped calling people and stopped returning calls, and then they quit their jobs, and everything, because they believed that this guy was really going to take care of them and lead them to the passages of righteousness in his name's sake. This was their second coming. And it's sad because a lot of the people that he got were mentally incapable of making good decisions, with multiple mental issues, like one of the ones that's still there, Jayon or Zoka. Zoka is really, she was having issues before she left home with mental illness, the bipolarism, or whatever it is that she's still struggling. And she goes off and she is so out. We'll talk about this for Friday, how when she lost her baby and the things that he told her regarding her baby. And she believed about 30 minutes. And after that, she was told to suck it up. I don't know how he manipulated those people. But this stuff, my sister, is for real. Just for this video, did you? I know I didn't. And you can go back over the last 6 to 8 years, and you're gonna find us talking about this stuff. We didn't make this stuff up. We really want you guys to be aware. And not only that, be sudden, away from the family, acting strange, giving up all their earthly goods. One or of two things is happening. They are suicidal, or they're seeking to. A lot of suicidal people give away everything that they have. They start doing things up to, and they only cash in this and do this and that. They do things like that because they are figuring there's not a tomorrow. And then there are people who are about to join groups like this one that will do the same thing because they're detaching themselves from everything that they've been knowing. And now they're going to walk away from all of that to go and join this group. And this group is going to give them everything that they need for life. Everything that they believe has changed their countenance. They become disfigured to you because the way that they've been taught has them immobilized. We've been on here for more than an hour now, sweetheart. Is there anything you wanna are there any other points you wanna make?
Oh no, there's nothing else,
I
nothing
hate
else.
this delay. I hope I get this technical issue fixed before tomorrow too.
I don't know what's going on, but like I said, you've been going in and out the whole
We'll
time. I've
be
been
on
trying
your
to keep up, trying to keep up.
yeah. Be on your channel with episode 3, and then on and we'll also dibble and dabble on some of the things that were left out. So we're gonna close it up on Friday, and the hood table 402. Make sure that you let me see if I can get your like, share, and subscribe to the hood table. If you guys are not, uh I want you all to please go over there and support my sister, and also be nice enough to drop something in her cash app. It's my sister from another mister, y'all. I love this girl. Like old folks love soft shoes. She's one of the realest people that I know. And she means the absolute world to me. I would kill a brick over this girl right here. And when I tell you she one of the baddest cake makers in the game, wait. Okay, that's her please support my girl. Okay, it's telling me I'm having trouble. What is I gotta figure out how to get good internet. I have
All right,
no
thank you so
understanding
much,
what's going
sis. I'm
on.
gonna get out. I'm gonna get out of here. Um, excuse me. I think I'm sorry. Was you done? I'm sorry. If you're still there, I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Please make sure you guys like and share the video. We'll be back tomorrow night on my channel for episode 3 of the Nature Boy Saga, which is on Hulu right now. And I'm looking forward to watching it tomorrow morning and taking my little notes so we can discuss it live tomorrow evening. But thank you so much for joining me and my Sis-Lo. That is my sister from another mister, and I love her so much. I don't know what's going on with the internet or connection tonight, but I do apologize, for the technical difficulties. But please, please, please make sure you like and share the video. And if the spirit moves you, please donate to her cash app $Sis-Lo. And on that note, I'm out of here, sis. I love you, boo.
I love you too, mama. Love y'all on purpose. Ain't nothing you can do about it. And we don't say goodbye because goodbye is too permanent. So we just gonna say later for now. If you've been watching in the replay, leave us a comment. If you've been watching in the replay, leave us a comment. We'll see you tomorrow. think about it. Let us know what you like about the show and what would you like for us to talk about next. I love you guys. Have a blessed night. Be good. Bye.